Oh, you're going, sorry.
Aloha, my name is Punake Aloha. Again, there's no treaty of annexation. Everything that you're doing is a continue of genocide against our sovereign nation. Now, the VI is our resources. The Aina, this archipelago is our resources. By you controlling it and cutting us off from sustaining a life is heaven. And again, I bring to you, is this pono. There was never a ceded land. There's no treaty of annexation. Until you guys can figure that out, look it up. There's none. The Kui petition, look that up. Our Iwi Kapuna fought and kept us a sovereign nation. And you guys are continuing an act of war. I plead on you. Come on. These are our resources. By you guys cutting these streams and capping them, these are the veins of our Aina, of our Ahu Pua'a.
This motion is simply to provide the Kauai
Well,
body
yeah,
water, the ability
but
to provide
in other
water.
words, it's, water is our life.
Right, but provide water for people to drink in their homes.
But by you guys capping it and controlling it, that doesn't keep us alive. Mahalo.
Okay.
Aloha.
All right, thank you, Pono. Anyone else wishing to testify on this agenda item K1?
Motion to approve. Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposes, motion carries. Thank you very much. D1, Russell?
On D1, we're bringing back to the board and asking the board to deny a prior request for contested case by Mr. Kui Palama. The underlying matter was brought before the board several months ago where the board voted to close down a particular area of state land that had been, at that time, being occupied by Kui Palama and others. Apparently he didn't make a request for contested case at the meeting, but he did later try to submit something in writing, and that's what we had our Attorney Generals evaluate, and I believe you folks have it under seal, their opinion. And so our request today is to deny the request for contested case. I understand Mr. Kui Palama actually is present here, would want to testify. I just wanted to advise the board, since the time that we closed the area and put up signs and taken back the area, I understand Mr. Palama, from what I understand, has reoccupied the site, and so that's an issue, and I would ask Mr. Palama's cooperation in please vacating that area.
Any questions for Russell? Okay, we don't have anybody specifically signed up, but it's Kui here. Would you like to come up and, you understand the motion before the recommendation before the board is to deny the request for a contested case, right?
Right. Hi, my name is Kui Palama. I'm a living person, and I'm here represented by Postal Service Judge Kelene Kahau.
You want her to come and
Yes.
join you at the?
Yes.
Okay. Could you introduce yourself for the record?
Aloha. I'm Federal Postal Judge Kilina Kahal. I did
Yes.
submit some paperwork to William Milo. I do have a couple more. If you do need.
I'm circulating it right now. The issue before us is whether or not to grant the contested case,
understand.
but
I understand. But I wanna, before I go on, this is not about a sovereignty issue. I just wanna make that clear, okay? And how I identify sovereignty is when Barack Obama became president, he addressed people as Americans. We're all Americans in this room. That is a sovereign, okay? But I wanna let you folks know this is not a sovereignty issue. right here in the front, your front paper, shows who I am as an authority figure. It's not what I believe, it is a fact. It is a correct sentence structure. So it gives me, I don't create laws, I use them as it was created back in 1775, going back to Philadelphia, excuse me. So it goes back to Title Code 28-636. It gives me the authority to open federal postal court. I am an authority figure, that's what I do. So I'm just trying to explain myself, who I am as a person, and who I am. And if you go to your third page, that's where my authority lies, right here. Wherever there is a postal treaty, I am an authority figure. I can help anyone on the planet and in the archipelago. You have my oath, it's here. Judge Molloway, she has it. You have my claim of life. I am a true living person. And there's an explanation. Judge Molloway has it. The quantum interface. It was sent to your John Roberts, Barack Obama, and there's a living proof. This is just to show who I am. This separates me from any sovereign group here in the archipelago. Your next thing is the CPAS Treaty, which combines into a banking treaty. This gives me an authorization for the archipelago because there was a 70-year bankruptcy in the state of Hawaii. I had cleared that to the authority. Your boss, his boss, the Department of Defense, has the same treaty. I'm just clarifying. So what we're talking about today is, I understand, is to give him clearance. I'm representing him because everything deals with grammar. There's 132 islands that I have done in this treaty that I have claimed. You have it on your paperwork. Okay. All these years that we have done, it's either give the nation back or give the people the freedom to be self-sufficient. That's what I'm here for, is to help our people to be self-sufficient in the right state. Nothing to be ku'e, but to give them the right to be self-sufficient and to be humble. Yeah, the next page is our flag, the rightful flag. We don't go ku'e, we don't stand and do our marches. This is to be humble. This is the way to do it, and to do it together as a nation and as people, because there is fraud out there through grammar. I understand what Pono is talking about, but this is the only way so that we can be self-sufficient in things that are to come to understand. I am the only one that can give a Lodial claim because I am a plenipotentiary judge, which makes me an ambassador to this nation. This is not something I believe, this is something I know is a fact. And if you look to it in the World Hate Court, they have my claim, they have my oath, they have everything who I am. Now, I also saw inside of here, it says that under your law, he has to comply by traditional cultures and standards. And he's failed to do that. I believe you have pictures and paperwork that he grows a lo'i, he does traditional standards of things, but if you cut his water off, how does his lo'i grow? How does those things happen? So we have to give our people some kind of stability. Now he has a map that shows the water comes through this way and it leads into another way. He's only taking a portion of that. That's self-sustaining. That's traditional culture. We have to do what is not just what is right, but what is correct for our people. Whether they be Kanaka Maoli or Kama'aina. They live here on the island. They know what is the culture. They know what is self-sustaining. It's not just about being ku'e or what was done in the past, but what is to be done right here now. I've done many things with you in the past, with Lucio, but that's in the past. This is for what is to be done now and for our children to come. We understand what the laws need to be done here in the state of Hawaii. But what about all people? They're trying to be self-sufficient. They're trying to raise their family in the right culture way. And how is that to be done? If we demean them, and you have laws that say they need to do Hawaiian gathering rites and traditional cultural practices, and you come with bulldozers and dirt and stop the water rights when it is part of our right. Is it right, or is it correct? Or is it fraudulent conveyance of grammar? Let's think and ponder about this. You know, sometimes we overreact and we like get arrested because we like take over something that, you know, we have to think and ponder. So now let's look at the grammar. And that's what we're asking. That's what we're here today. To let's do what is correct. Not just in our na'au and our hearts, but in our grammar and the way we speak to each other. That's why we're here. He's only doing what is right for the people, not just his family, but to teach others how to go in the lo'i plant, pick the huli, make it so that other children can learn, other families can learn. Feed the goats, feed the horses, feed the cattle, so we can be self-sufficient here in the islands, like we used to be. This is where it has to begin. So, I ask you, can we have a compromise? Can we do this for the children and the people of our nation? Even if we're not Kanaka and our Kama'ainas, this is what it's all about.
What are you asking us? What's before us is whether we, is put the bearing on the contested case within our rules and our laws, which is what we're able to talk about.
I understand.
So it's out of purview of what you're talking about. So what are you asking us? I'm confused what you're asking us right now.
Okay. So, I'm asking, can you give him leeway of this land? Because if you look on his paperwork, his family, his paperwork is actually part of his family. Yeah. Well, he's occupying this area, right? And you have claimed that you pretty much own this area. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So
Mr. Palama has made a presentation of basically a land
yes,
claim.
yes.
We've researched the land claim via the documents that we have. And our assessment is the land, partial of the land that is being occupied right now is state land. There's a bit of private land
Right.
in which we built, based on the documents, that the Palama family may have kuleana rights
Right.
to the private land,
To that private
but
property,
not
yes.
the state land.
Right.
There was a time when we would have entertained, and I made the offer, Mr. Palama wasn't here, forget your name, brother, you was here, and you took the message back, that we would have considered a right of entry,
Okay.
revocable permit,
Okay.
because because the board in past actions have agreed that it is good for people to be self-sufficient.
Right.
It is good to honor
Right.
traditional and customary practices. The challenge for us was when we put that offer on the table, we got back papers that said, we reject your offer, the land is ours.
Okay,
So that's when we spoke earlier, I said, this is, if the paperwork is on the table saying that the land does not belong to the state, the proper venue for deciding land ownership in Hawaii is the land court.
okay,
The land board does not decide title.
and I understand that.
So, I mean, we made an offer, Mr. Palama and the family, to continue doing what he's doing, but he has to comply with
Right,
state law, right?
exactly.
So, to divert the stream would have required a stream alteration permit.
Right.
So the
and
work was
understand.
done without a stream alteration permit right now,
Right,
which
okay.
is a violation of
Right,
the water code.
right,
Okay.
and I understand that.
So, I guess you're asking, could we entertain a way for him to do what he wants to do? The answer would be possibly after the violations are dealt with. We can't give you an opportunity while there are violations that are in progress.
Okay, okay. The violations that he showed me was that there was a dwelling. Is that the violation? And the violation.
There were a number of things.
And
There were
the
some
violation
dwellings, there were
as far as.
The SCAP, the not having the stream alteration permit.
The stream, okay.
Correct.
Now, part of that stream alteration, isn't that part of Kuleana rights?
It could be, but he doesn't have kuleana rights to the state land. He may have kuleana rights to the private land. So the water going to the
Okay.
private land is a
And-
possibility.
And now that's where I step in, you see? And that's what I was trying to explain to you, whereas that's why I step in and that's where I'm able to give the Lodio claim. But to
the
his
excuse me, but the alluvial claim is not, we cannot adjudicate in the land board the alluvial
Okay.
claim. That one has to go to the land court.
Okay.
We
So-
don't have the authority to
Okay,
do that.
all right. So now he's gonna go do that. I'm gonna go play this role again, because I've done it before. So I'm just letting you, it's just a notification. Because it's not a Lodio, it's Lodio claim. So I'm gonna play this role one more time then. That's what you're telling me.
Well, if there is a land claim, or if there's a water claim that's associated with land, right? Then the land court is for the land title. The water commission decides water rights and water access.
Okay, and then that's where the CPAS comes in.
Well,
Yeah,
okay,
because,
I know that you are asserting that that's where it comes in.
because the military
I-
has this.
I can turn to my attorney general and ask him,
Well, his attorney general, his boss, David, knows about this. He's been giving this.
but just because we've been giving something does not make it
Well,
so.
then his boss and the prior bosses up there, they all know it. It's just you guys have this thick veil because it hasn't been come down to you
Okay,
yet.
so until such time.
I'm
that
not
it
trying to
comes- No, no.
demean you,
No,
I'm just,
I agree with you, but until such time that it comes down, we have to
it's not a problem, because it's my,
continue to behave,
yeah,
according to
I understand.
the laws and administrative
understand.
rules that we have, right? Until we're told,
Okay. So the procedure is for him to go to the land court and me to walk this walk with them.
with regards to the private piece of
Property, yes.
Because we're gonna disagree on the adjacent piece of property, which is,
Right.
according to our title search, state land.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
And currently, I think you have some property that's still on state lands. There's still the issue of dealing with the stream alteration permit that is not proper. So for us to get to a point where we could issue him an RP or issue you some sort of right to be on our lands,
I
right, the state
believe he
lands.
has an RP already,
Right. We would need it to be cured,
yeah,
okay, via the state rules and regulations.
okay.
So that's where we're at today. So he's coming before us, asking us to give a contested case hearing. The staff's recommendation based on legal analysis our rules and regulations is we can't give him contested case here. So that being the case, if the board takes a vote and we don't, then we're back at the point where we're gonna serve Mr. Palama legal notices, and then we're gonna come back in with the bulldozers again until it's cured. Once it's cured, then we can talk story about,
So you want him to pay for something that is his right to the land?
it's not his right. The state has an obligation to balance traditional and customary practices with public health and safety issues and the running of the state's business. So it's not an absolute right, it's a
So
right
where
that's
is the
determined
public?
on balance.
I wanna ask, where is the public health services that he's violating?
He's occupying state lands right now without permission or without authorization.
But I just gave him permission. That's
Okay.
where my authority is stepping over
So
you.
I'm gonna just say for the record that until I'm told otherwise by the president or the governor, I cannot recognize your authority at the land board level. So therefore, he's still in violation of state law.
You cannot or you will not.
I cannot.
So we'll just go over you at this time.
And that's certainly your right to do so.
Okay.
Okay. And if a higher court or the president issues a lawful order that we can recognize you, then by all means, at some point in the future, we may, right?
So at this time, you will deny him his traditional practices?
No, we're denying him the motion, or the motion. The recommendation from staff is to deny the request for a contested case hearing. That's what's before the board right now.
Okay. So you want him to file in the land court for that property?
That's always, well,
That's what you want.
if he believes, okay, there's two pieces of property, let's be clear.
Yeah,
The state
the
claims
one
is its
outside
land.
and the
Outside.
one
Right.
inside that
Not,
he...
not the one where you actually, I think, have some kuleana rights, which is a
Mhm.
privately owned parcel
Yeah,
that
because
you
that's the
share.
one he wants to put on the rights.
Okay, so that one, you gotta go deal with the current landowner. You two guys are joint owners, and you guys gotta go work something out.
Okay,
You still need a SCAP, you still need a stream alteration permit to take
Okay.
water from the stream to go to that parcel of land,
okay,
to grow taro. Okay, but you're a co-owner like the other guys are co-owners, so you have to work that out with them.
mhm,
Okay.
okay,
But on the state property, cannot, and currently, if there's any buildings, structures, equipment left on state, you had the notice, right, so.
mhm.
But there's
you-
no buildings on the state property.
You moved it over, all to the other side.
There's
Our-
no
our
buildings. I
last-
never had a building on the state property.
Weren't there the stables and where the dog houses were, that's where the dogs were kept?
The dogs, they moved it.
Okay. Okay, so,
Diversion, I believe, is.
okay, so the diversion now is the last remaining violation. Now, what you can do is you can apply to the Water Commission for an after-the-fact stream alteration permit.
But how on Kanaka like me going put a meter in and tell you how much water I'm taking and how much water is going on? I'm not doing it commercially. All the growing taro just for
No, it's
sustain my
just-
kids.
It
I'm not-
doesn't, this is not about how much water is gonna be charged for anything
But I
like
seen the
that.
permit. That's what it
No.
says on the
The
permit.
SCAP, the stream alteration permit, merely gives you permission to alter a stream. Now, there's a water allocation issue that comes after the stream alteration permit. Okay? How much water gets taken out of the stream, that has to be vetted in terms of what is the impact on the rest of the stream, right? I saw the pipe you put in, it's not that much water, okay? But we gotta go through that process. The board cannot say, hey, looks, the pipe is small enough, go ahead. The Water Commission is charged with that responsibility. So there's another board that you have to go to cure the violation. The violation is you didn't ask permission ahead of time to remove water from the stream. And whether it's a Kanaka or whether it's Alexander and Baldwin or whether it's anybody, we would be taking the same action.
But they get their Alexander and Baldwin is more of an issue is more of a public matter for safety for the
But
public
they
than
have,
mine.
but they have gone through the process to either get the SCAP or those water diversions were put into place before the law came into effect, so they're grandfathered.
So they're grandfathered, so I get royal patent title to the place, so what would that make us if Alexander and
So
Baldwin?
your claim would be, if you have a royal patent,
Right,
right, your claim would be, I have a pertinent rights. That's your claim that you would put before the Water Commission.
I already did send them something,
To the Water Commission?
yes.
Okay,
I
so,
forgot his name, I have it in my phone, but
Bill
I
Tam.
did send him something.
Bill Tam.
Bill Tam,
Right.
and he told me he would review the documents and get back to me. Then I was served by, I believe, Milo,
right, because that's the land side.
right?
Okay, so we have two.
So they never got back to me, the Water Commission. After I gave them a nice notice, emailed him, he emailed me back, thank you, I'll review the documents, never got back to me.
Okay, okay, so all of your personal property is off the state property, right?
Most
Yeah.
of it.
We'll have to go
yeah.
most of it, so
Yeah.
move the rest off. That cures the land violation. Now, what we do is we move forward to the Water Commission and make an attempt to cure the stream alteration permit.
But I get one the property, they came there, they surveyed it. It goes across the road. You know when you drove up there?
Yeah.
See that? You're driving up on the road right in front of our fence. Our property goes right across the road. But I left the road open, knowingly that everybody who goes up there, they gotta go up, they gotta get on access. Just like how we supposed to be able to access our Kuleana. Everybody access right through our property, goes across the river, whatever they do, water department.
There's likely an easement on the private property that you have for the road.
Yeah,
So it would be in your best interest to keep that open because
That's why
there's
I
likely
did.
an easement, that a legal requirement for you to keep it open.
But it's not a county road, so how is that an easement? So I figure instead of blocking off the road so I can make more lois, so I can feed more people as well as my family, now I gotta suffer and grow lois only because they're taking 100 feet of road.
We encourage other folks to grow taro. We would work with you to grow taro, but you have to take care of the violations first. Once you take care of violations, then we can work with you, whether it be on the private land or if you want to do a revocable permit on the adjacent state land, but you gotta cure the violations first.
Because I feel like Milo, I don't think he's here,
Milo's
the
not-
land agent,
Yeah.
he has a personal grudge against me because my uncle went into his office, applied for a permit, he put it on hold. He was gonna give my uncle a permit. So what was the difference of my uncle getting a permit
Because
to
you had
lease the land?
violations. Because you had existing violations at the time, we cannot give a permit to someone who has existing violations.
But he told me if I sign the permit, he wipes everything off. How is that?
You gotta comply first, and that's what he would have told you. If you complied first, then we could certainly consider you for a revocable permit or some other leasing situation. Okay? So we're offering an ability to become compliant,
Okay,
okay? So the next step is, if you've moved everything, and you haven't, because you just said mostly everything, move everything off the state land, now you're compliant with the state land, the occupation of state land. Now we still have to deal with the unauthorized diversion of water. That goes to the Water Commission, that we work with Bill Tam to fix. You can apply for an after-the-fact permit, not saying it's guaranteed that it's gonna be approved, but the process is you certainly can apply, and then we'll see what the impacts are. We're not saying no, we're just saying we have to do some things first.
then it has to be approved because that's part of his water rights.
He has a stronger case if he has Kuleana rights to a
Yes, he
parcel
does.
of land,
Mhm.
because pertinent rights,
Yes, I know what opportunity
okay,
is.
so pertinent rights have a higher degree of
I understand.
priority.
Yes, I do.
But he has to tell us, he has to make the application,
Okay.
and he has to cure the violation.
Understood.
Okay.
Understood. And I believe he has told you that he has Kudama property.
Okay, so you put in an application, I will go and check,
Application at
Water Commission is what you told me.
I didn't put in an application,
Okay.
but I sent him facts of why I have a right, and he said, okay, good, he's gonna review it, and he never got back to me.
Okay, so I will speak to Mr. Tam, and we will begin a process, or tell you how to begin the process to request an after-the-fact stream alteration permit.
I'm not trying to play a
That's-
hard ball, I'm just trying to grow food to feed my family, be self-sustainable.
Okay, and we honor that, that's great.
That's all I'm trying to do.
And we honor that, we just have to do it where it meets the law. Okay?
You know, this part, it said, Article, I said Article 12,
Section 7,
do you have that on you?
I do not have the state constitution with me.
Okay.
But again, it's not an absolute right. It's a right that has to be balanced with other rights. The right for the state to protect public health and safety.
Understand?
So, yes, and he actually has a real right, if he is
Kuleana.
truly a Kuleana landowner,
Mhm.
a part landowner in that, on a pertinent rights, on the ability to grow taro.
Understood.
Okay, but we gotta resolve that.
So by shutting off my water is not resolving that.
That's one way to solve the problem. The other way is you apply for an after-the-fact stream alteration permit with the Commission on Water Resource Management.
Okay, so if I apply, and then they take, I don't know how long it's gonna take to come back, to get back to me. So you send a backhoe up there and bury my ditch
We
again?
may or we may not, but how that's gonna start the process is
That's,
get the
that's
application.
kind of like all part of the genocide effect, though.
No. Okay, so what we're trying to do is we're trying to bring it into compliance. We recognize that he has an
Understood.
pertinent right.
Understood.
But you gotta go through the process.
But turning off blocking the water, that doesn't really help the situation.
Blocking the water or
The-
taking out the diversion
Yeah.
is the legal remedy.
By
Right.
cutting off the water.
It's the legal remedy.
So you can say, I'm
Because
gonna
there's-
shut your water off
because
unless
there's-
you do this.
Well, if he applies, right now he hasn't applied. You made contact. If he applies, then one of the measures, the interim measures might be, okay, you have temporary permission to run the water through the pipe until we make the assessment and make the determination, okay? That doesn't mean we won't come up there and shut him off tomorrow, but at some point, you have to put some piece of paper before us that says, I want to remedy this situation by doing something.
But just of the fact of you recognizing that is a Kuleana land, that if you recognize me as a
Yes, but you still have to
Kuleana-
go through the process to get the stream alteration permit.
as a Kuleana landowner.
That's correct.
But
Any other
that's
Kuleana
not in the
landowner.
Kuleana land rights, that it's our right to take
It's a
out.
right to get water. It's not a right to take water without permission.
Where are we taking it though? I putting it back.
You- You're taking water from the stream.
But they're putting them back right in
You're
the
taking
stream.
water from the stream with a stream diversion that is not approved. So we can argue philosophically, but that's not gonna get you
I'm not trying to
anywhere.
argue. I just-
You're asking me a rhetorical question. I'm trying to give you a procedural answer. The procedural answer is, if you want to work towards making this happen, then I'll talk to Bill Tam, we'll get with you, you put the application in, that's the first step, okay?
Okay.
Then we decide, the Water Commission decides whether or not you keep the pipe going or we take the pipe out until you get the permission to do it right. That's the next step. But you gotta get the application in first. If you're gonna ask me the rhetorical question about philosophical, do I have the right to water? Yes, you do. But do you have the right to divert water from a stream? No, you don't without permission. Okay, so it can happen. I'm telling you that we can make it happen, but you gotta do some things.
Because of the law. So,
Because of the law,
because of the law that you folks follow.
yes. Because of the law that we have to follow. Okay?
That law.
Chair,
Forgive me,
I-
Ida.
Yes.
Is there a staff person that they can work with in order to initiate
I
paperwork?
will, since he made the inquiry with Bill Tam, I will ask Bill Tam to follow up. So, the first deputy for the Water Commission will follow up.
As soon as they send me a notice, I responded back to him.
Okay, so the next step is send you an application. All right? But I think also on the land side, you still have some equipment and/or buildings or building materials that's on state land. You gotta cure that too. Okay?
Okay, so, one more thing. You gotta give him at least 10 days, 10 to 30 days. That's like our rescission act, yeah. None of this 5-day stuff. Because that's give him time to respond. So we give you the same time, yeah. So, I mean,
It's been about 3 months since
I
the
understood that,
notification.
but he's been responding, you know.
On the
he's-
water commission side,
Yeah, he's
but
been
not the
responding.
land side.
Both sides have been
Both-
responding.
He's been
Okay,
responding.
but you responded with a title claim. You said, I own the land.
I didn't say I owned it. I never
That's
said I
the,
owned it.
that's the pala that I got from you, saying that based on my genealogy, based upon my genealogy to this person who was given the ahupua of da-da-da, I can be on that land. And that's why I said, the board does not adjudicate land titles. The land court adjudicates
Right.
land titles. So we're not the venue to make that.
Right.
That's why we offered you. Cure everything, then make the application. If you wanted to use some state land, we cannot do nothing with you until you cure all the violations.
Violations, understood.
You cure all of the violations, now we can talk.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay?
So how fast you think that'll happen?
There's two things that has to happen.
Yeah.
We're gonna go back and we're gonna verify whether or not in a short period of time you remove the rest of your property from state land.
Okay.
Okay? If you don't do so, then we're gonna come in with the bulldozers and we're gonna remove that off the state land.
Okay.
Okay?
Like what, the taro patch is considered a property?
Yeah?
One taro patch?
Yeah, it's
Can,
considered your
could possibly
personal.
feed your workers when they
It's
come up there.
considered your
and-
personal property, you put it there without permission on state land, okay?
What
You
if
don't
it
have a
was
lease.
What if it was already there? All they did was cut the grass and boom, there was Lois restored. I get pictures that the whole
You
valley
didn't
was
have
Lois.
permission to go on state land and do anything, so that's a violation, okay?
You guys would actually hurt the lo'i that could feed people.
In order to cure it, okay? And the best thing you can do right now is.
Just say yes or no.
No, the best thing that you can do right now is go and harvest all your taro that's on the state land, okay? That's the best thing, that's how you cure. Harvest all of the taro, stop farming there. Go to the privately owned land that you have a claim to. Now you're cured. Now you can come back to us and say, hey, I'm cured. Can we talk about a revocable permit? Can we talk about a lease? But we can't do that
But
until
who should I
you
see
cure.
to do that?
You're gonna have to deal with Milo.
Because he seems to have something against me. Because he don't answer, he don't return my phone calls, nothing.
Because you're in violation.
But how are we going to fix him if the land agent on Kauai,
I'm I'm sure he told you exactly what I told you on how to cure it. Okay? And you obviously haven't responded because you still have things on state land. So the first step is cure it. Then the land agent can
And who's the
begin
land
discussions.
agent? on
Milo.
Kauai?
Okay? So you gotta cure it first, because as long as you don't cure it, then we have the notice of violation that's standing out there and the notice of eviction that's standing out there.
because I read his testimony that he said that.
Don't get hung up on that, brother.
No,
I'm giving
but-
you a way
No,
out.
I know that, but I like,
Sure, no.
I like
You can
just,
come up and talk
I like
afterwards.
just know what is my threat to the public safety?
Your threat is you are using land without permission, just as we would do the same thing to anybody else.
So what if I told you using land without permission? Because I have a
You're-
treaty
you're-
here.
You're able to say that, but I'm not able to recognize that. So what we need to do is move on, right? So either we're gonna come in and clear everything off, right? Or you gonna do them. Up to you. Okay? Then, if you wanna work forward in a legal manner to do what you need to do, which we agree should be done, land made available to people that wanna grow food, hey, we there with you. But the process has to be pono first. It has to be right according to the laws that I have to recognize. And right now, until the president tells me otherwise, I cannot recognize that. piece of
These
paper.
laws is
No.
what those laws actually are based on. These is Congress laws.
It's not. Okay?
Well, it is. If you do
It's-
your research,
It's-
Congress is based on these
It's-
laws.
okay, so
It's only
we-
written
We're
in
gonna have this
syntax.
philosophical difference, but I'm gonna tell you right now, in terms of what the attorney over there is gonna tell me I can do and cannot do, I cannot recognize that right now. When the president tells the chief justice or the attorney general for the United States to tell the other attorney generals,
Eric
then-
Holder knows these laws.
Okay.
He's the one that
okay, so he
takes my
hasn't,
paperwork.
he hasn't told us to recognize that yet. So you might wanna send him a letter. Okay? He hasn't told us, so I can't.
Chair, I appreciate your leeway and patience in this conversation, but at this point, I'd like to request that we
Go back to
keep
the
the
agenda.
conversation back to what the matter is on the agenda for our son's.
So out of respect for the board, can you speak to the,
I understand. Sure.
okay, so there was somebody else that wanted to testify.
I just had one question on,
Identify yourself first.
my name is Connie Pilkington. Lived on Kauai all my life. Good friend of the Palama family, the whole family as a whole, which never claimed, especially him, to own the land. They never claimed they owned the land. They claimed rights to the land. But my question is, how is he supposed to try to make everybody happy and go forward with Milo, a new guy, DLNR, new to the island of Kauai? Kauai is a very tight-knit. Sean knows that. You is on Kauai, boy, all your life, right? Correct?
Correct.
It's a very tight island.
Ask the question.
No, my question is, how are we supposed to work with Milo when he's a very confrontational man? Like he says, he might have a grudge, chip on his shoulder, whatever. He brings in bulldozers, he brings in Buddy Wilson.
Okay, so-
No, and he's yelling at people and he's trying to make
Okay.
fights. How are you supposed to work with somebody like that? Because he has this status, I am the state of Hawaii, this and that. Because he has a personal issue, he's not gonna
So number
let
one,
anything go forward.
number one, regardless if it's Milo or anybody there, cure. Okay, you got the pala, you guys got the pepa, you got the notice. Cure, number one. Until you do that, we cannot move forward.
But I did meet with Milo.
Okay, we can, we're
Yeah,
not gonna
no,
rehash
okay,
it,
okay.
right? You either cure or you don't.
Okay, so in curing, you're talking about
Moving all of your.
moving all the stuff. So how about the lois? We have to bulldoze it and grade it and compact
Take
it or
out-
something? Or can we just
Take out the
remove
color.
the collar out?
Take out the collar right now.
And then, I mean, are they gonna come in and bulldoze and make, you know,
I don't
because
know,
he
I
has a
don't know
chip?
what we're gonna do.
What do you mean you don't know? That's kind of a big trip, you know what I mean? This guy is very confrontational.
Look, let's talk about the other side, okay? He was also threatened, okay?
By
So-
who?
But, yeah.
By your family.
Not by me.
By your family, okay? So, when
Okay.
we send guys out there, hang on. The choice right now, we can talk about, you know, everything what you know. The choice right now is we're gonna decide whether or not to give you a contested case hearing or not, okay? The next step is, we're gonna come out there, and if it's not complied with, we're gonna take action, the appropriate action, okay? Which means you can remove the taro, or we can remove the taro. It's up to you. The taro is part of the property that's on there that doesn't belong there, that's not authorized to be on state property. So that's up to you, okay?
I just know. I was just
Once it's
asking-
cured, now we can talk story. So we cannot talk story until it's
But
cured.
can I ask if you guys would help us out with controlling some of your agents
Look,
that
you-
are very aggressive and
Look,
confrontational?
Look, I'm gonna answer that question this
We
way.
got rights too.
I'm gonna answer the question this way, and I'm not
Yes.
gonna talk after this. We're gonna end this. Cure first, then we can talk. Okay? Real simple. Cure first, then we can talk. Okay, so anyone else wanna testify? Okay, that's the procedure by which to have future discussions.
Yeah, hello.
Hello?
My name is Keith Cowie. I'm with Kalina Kahau. I'm a clerk of our court. I'm here to,
Sorry, which court?
of Kalina Stock, the
Okay.
Federal Postal Service Bonds. And I'm the clerk for that court, one of the clerks. And part of my duty is to go and review the things that come into address towards us and then QC it and pass it on to her. Now, I'm not the clerk on this particular case, but I'm just here to share, as we say, the due process. So part of it is, have we touched all parties involved with this case? We're here also just to touch all the parties that are
Can I
involved with our
stop you right now?
concern.
The
Yeah.
case before us right now is whether or not to issue a contested case hearing or deny a contested case hearing.
Right.
So we've heard all about what people believe.
No, this is not what I
No, 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 no.
believe. That's why we brought those
Okay,
documents
so-
to you
So I'm
today.
gonna exercise my jurisdiction as the chair and say, unless you have additional information regarding the contested case, I'm gonna ask you to stop testifying.
Well, I'm not testifying,
Okay.
rightfully. I'm just telling you, as a clerk of the court, and it's our responsibility. We want to know all parties involved. You've been given that piece of document to let you know you've been served.
Okay?
Okay, so that's the reason for it.
Thank you for the service.
So if there are any more, before we keep going on and we get another party coming involved.
Thank you for the service.
Okay.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to testify? Okay, come on. And could you keep your testimony to the issue before the board, which is the contested case?
Yes, I'm Kui Palama. Kui is dead. You know, we just know that we have our rights on our Kuleana land over there.
Not the state land.
And I got questions for you if
Go ahead.
about the water rights. You know, I get document pictures in the old map that we just following the same manual that comes down to our patch.
Okay, understood that. And we had the discussion, you heard the discussion before. Yes, you have a pertinent rights. No, you do not have the right to divert the stream without a stream alteration
But
permit.
the thing was, it's original diversion before. We get pictures of the
Okay.
streams that came down to the Lodi.
Streams change. The river moves. The river is not that way today. So you moved it back to the way it was 40, 50 years ago. That's still a violation of the stream alteration permit. Okay?
The violation in you guys' laws.
Yes. Okay? But I've explained a way forward. Okay?
So what about with above that, up by Manawaipuna Falls, all the diversions like that? Is it legal for them to take billions and billions of gallons of water?
Yes, right now, yes.
And down below, you get McBride taking billions and billions gallons
Right
of
now-
water.
Right now, yes.
They do have the rights, and we just taking.
I cannot go back over
Legal
history.
access.
So, yes, they have the rights because, number one, they were taking water prior to the advent of the water code, okay? You can have the right to take water, okay? You gotta apply for the stream diversion permit. There's a way forward. Okay? That's what I put on the table before you guys. I made a commitment to have Bill Tam contact you and provide you with an application so that we can begin the discussion going forward. Okay?
So what about the agenda is a contested case hearing?
Okay.
So I mean, what is?
You're obviously, I would think you would oppose the fact that we want to deny you a contested case hearing. A contested case hearing is very similar to a judicial process where you present evidence, we present evidence as to why the board's decision was incorrect when it denied, when it actually responded to staff by saying there's a violation going on, an illegal occupation of state lands, and the motion was to move forward with an eviction. Okay, so the basis for the eviction would have been what you would have appealed for a contested case hearing. Unfortunately, you didn't follow the procedure. The procedure was you give verbal notice. You weren't even here.
I wasn't here.
Right. So unfortunately, the fact that you weren't here, although you were given notification to be here, and then follow up with a written request and the payment of the fee, 10 days went by and you didn't. So on a technical term, we cannot give you a contested case hearing. But better than a contested case hearing, we're giving you a way out. The way is to cure and then come back.
Okay.
Okay? We want people to farm. We've given many RPs and leases for people to reestablish Loi. We want to do that, but you gotta do it according to the rules and regulations that we have. Okay?
we have to establish some control, or it's just gonna go, so the chair is just really trying to fix it. And I'm happy to meet with you, Kui, on Kauai. If you don't wanna talk to Milo, I'm happy to be a liaison for you. So, I just the chair is offering you an opportunity to just fix it, and then we can talk. We can't do anything, because if you just gotta think this was happening statewide, there's gotta be a protocol we follow.
Let's just say something. One day it will.
Okay. But
I
in
mean,
the interim,
I understand what you guys saying, work it out, yeah. But I'm just saying,
Connie
one
has
day
my
it will.
number. Connie has my number, I'm happy to chat with you anytime on Kauai.
Okay. No, sounds good.
Okay.
So the state's policy is to double the amount of food that we grow here in Hawaii in the next 20 years. So we agree with you. Just gotta do
We
it.
wish you
according
see
to-
the shirt that my friend is wearing right there. That's what we're trying to do.
Okay, then
Not
let's
bring in
then-
90% of the
Then
food.
let's work together to reach compliance.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, is there anyone else wishing to testify on this matter?
He fell asleep.
Okay. Who's gonna testify?
We heard from her earlier.
One more thing. So all this file and all this stuff moving forward, and you guys come there, block my access to my kuleana. How is that legal for you guys to stop me from going? Because you just said there's an easement, yeah,
Okay.
earlier.
So you're a part owner of a piece of land that has
I'm not the
kuleana.
owner. It's
Okay.
kuleana is my
Well,
responsibility.
somebody else has bought shares of that kuleana, right? Okay. So if you have kuleana lands and you obviously have the paperwork, then it's the state's responsibility, if there are state lands adjacent to you, to provide you with access, once you're compliant, okay?
Compliant to what? To what we just went over. Taking us structures. But how am I gonna be compliant if they stopping me?
Okay. Let's fix the Water Commission violation. Move the rest of what you have on the state lands off, okay? That's how we get compliant. Then we can talk to you about the rights under the kuleana, access,
Right.
the rights under the kuleana for water, but it's gotta go through that process, okay?
Got it.
All right?
Thank you.
Once again, last time, anyone wishing to testify on this agenda item? Seeing none. Board members, the staff recommendation is to deny the contested case hearing.
Motion to deny.
So we have a motion to deny, we have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No one opposes, motion carries, so it's denied, but now we have a plan to go forward, right?
Thank you guys. That is awesome.
Okay?
I take your word for it.
Well,